So this is my spring Q&A video, and I thought I'd have a bit of a change of scenery and come in here with the guinea pigs. Then at least if you get bored of me talking to you, then you've got something else to look at, because they're very cute. Right, so thank you to everyone who posted questions on the last video. I'll just dive straight into it. So first up, how old were you when you got your first guinea pig and how long did it live? In answer to this, I think I was either 14 or 15 years old, and my first two guinea pigs were two boys called Ross and Joey. Ross lived to be about only 3 and Joey lived to be quite an old man. He was going on for 7 when he passed, so in the time since I first got them, I had actually gone off to uni and wasn't living at home anymore, so Joey was back at home with my mum and dad. So it's just one of those things to bear in mind. Guinea pigs can live for a long time, and if you are going to be moving out of your house, then you want to make sure you've got something in place so that they've still got people to look after them. Hey, hello. Hello, cutie pie. Next up is, how do you keep your guinea pigs warm in winter? That's kind of quite easy for me to answer now because I own my own house, so I can kind of have control of the heating, and we make sure it doesn't get too low, which is generally okay for the guinea pigs. But if it's going to get really cold overnight, or if we're not going to be around so much, then I have a few of these, which are the Snuggle Safe heat pads that you can get. I think they're quite expensive, but they really do stay warm for 10 hours, I think it lasts. You put them in the microwave for 7 minutes, and then if they're in a guinea pig's cage, they can be like underneath a pad in a bed or underneath a blanket that they might want to go in. So that's a really good product for if you are worried about them getting cold in the winter months. The next one's a bit of a funny one. It's kind of like 3 in 1. What are the top 3 places your guinea pigs like to, number 1, eat? Well, they just like to eat, so anywhere really. Be petted on, I guess that's on their body, so my guinea pigs will just prefer to be petted on the head or just behind on the back of the neck. Aww, like that. Anywhere else, and we don't like it, do we? No. And the third part of it, their favourite place to be. I have to say the cage. I think all guinea pigs really, that's where they feel most secure and probably most happiest. Their cage is kind of like their safe place really, so definitely the cage over anywhere else. Next one's a quick one. How many guinea pigs have I owned altogether, I guess this is, and it adds up to 9. So that's the first 2, Ross and Joey, and then Pixie and Sprite, Annie and Lola, and then these 3, Twiggy, Lyra and Willow, so 9 altogether. Next up is, do guinea pigs smell? Well, the guinea pigs themselves, if they've not had a bath in a while and if they're quite dirty and they like to sit in their own pee and poo, then yes, they can smell, but it's not really a smell unless you're properly sniffing at them. It doesn't kind of disperse into the whole house. Whereas the cage smell, if you don't clean out the cage, then that can smell, and it can, you know, float around the house. So basically, no, they don't smell as long as you clean out the cage every day. Next up, any suggestions for food aggression with sows? Now this is not something I've really had to deal with, because even when they've been aggressive towards each other, they've just been aggressive, it's not over food. So I'm guessing if they're okay and then it comes to food is the only time when they're kind of being aggressive with each other. You could try some of the food tricks, such as you're having more than one food bowl in a different place. You have different piles of veggies around the cage so that that dominant sow can't kind of commandeer all the food and take over. Next up is, how old are all the piggies? So Twiggy and Lyra are now 2 years old. We've had them for 2 years, it's crazy. And Willow is somewhere between 2 to 3 years old. Well, she's got to be a bit older than Twiggy, as she is her mum, so I probably say she's closer to 3 than she is 2. Someone asked about guinea pigs peeing during lap time, and is there any way to stop them from doing this? The short answer is no, because if they gotta go, then they gotta go. But I do actually have a sneaky trick that I use if I am gonna take them out of the cage for lap time. I kind of usher them into the litter tray, and probably 8 times, 9 times out of 10, they'll do a wee. So if you can get them to go in the litter tray before you actually take them out of the cage, and you see them go to the toilet, then you know you've got at least a good 10 or 15 minutes before they're going to need it again. I've lost count, but the next question is, are Clover and Daisies safe for piggies? So someone who was putting their guinea pigs out on the lawn was a bit worried about the other plants that might be in there. As far as I'm aware, Clover is completely fine. I'm not too sure about Daisies. I think I've seen guinea pigs eat them before and nothing has, nothing bad's happened. I have heard about buttercups, which is what someone commented. Buttercups not so good, but it might be worth having a look on Guinea Lynx or somewhere like that, where you can see a list of not only all the fruits and vegetables, but all the kind of herbs and forages and other plants, out in the wild that we might collect for them to eat. So there might be some information on there. So next up is, what are your favourite piggy personality traits? I kind of like funny, quirky behaviours that they have. I like how Willow is really, really scared if you go and pick her up, but then she is the most confident piggy ever when it comes to demanding vegetables and just running out of her hidey house and like looking around like, right, what's happening? I need to know. Then again, I really like how Lyra is such a wimp sometimes, and she'll run away and just... yeah, she'll run away sometimes at the slightest little noise, but then when I take her out of the cage and having lap time, she is just the sleepiest little piggy ever, so her eyes will just start closing. And another quirky thing that she does is she loves digging at anything. So a good example is when she's in my dressing gown and she'll kind of dig and dig and dig and then like turn herself around into this tight little ball and then just sit there like, right, sleep time now. And her little eyes start closing. It is very cute. And Twiggy's little quirks that I really like, she is one of those piggies that you'll stroke and she'll yawn, which is very, very cute indeed. But I just like in general how outgoing she is. I can always pet her in the cage. She's not really like afraid much, like Willow will probably run away, whereas Twiggy here will just sit and be stroked and probably lie down and do a bit of rumbling. So with guinea pigs, there's always something quirky and funny and unique in their personality. Next one is, what's the best time to give vegetables? And I've wondered this really, and I think what is ultimately best to do is to say give half in the morning and half in the evening, or try and split it up a bit, because it's not always a good idea for them to have such a binge on vegetables and eat loads of them, especially if they're piggies that have got a bit sensitive tummies and they might be at risk of bloat or other things. So it's probably best to kind of feed them throughout the day in moderation. But of course we can't always do that. Personally, I try to give them some lettuces and leafy stuff in the morning if I have time. If I don't, then they get everything all at once in the evening. So it's just kind of what you think, and if you think it might be better for them to have it more spread out, then you could try that. Next up, and the last question, is how often do I do floor time and lap time with the pigs? I try to do floor time at least once a week. I know it doesn't sound that often, but they do have a big cage, and hopefully now as well as they get towards the summer, then they can be out more often because they'll be outside. Lap time, not necessarily each of them every single day, but one of them I will try and take them out of the cage, give them a bit of a cuddle. So that's your honest answer. Some people might think floor time once a week is not enough, but that's what it probably averages out at. It could be something that I could work on more, but you're better off hearing the honest answers from me rather than me saying, oh yes, a floor time every single day, when it's not always practical to do those things every single day. And that's why it's best to have them in a big cage so that they always have the space, and if they do suddenly feel energetic, like they want to have a run around, then they've got that space there for them. You can't always time floor time so that they're out when they're feeling most energetic and they're going to run around. Sometimes you put them out on floor time and all they want to do is sit there in a bed. But anyway, I think lap time, definitely try and do that as often as you can, because it really does help them bonding with you and them becoming less afraid of you, which can only be a good thing. So that is all my questions answered for now. I will probably try and do a Q&A, maybe one for each season, like I said in the last videos. I hope you've enjoyed hearing all my answers. I'm sorry if there was any rambling. I'll try and edit those bits out. And I hope you've also enjoyed seeing the guinea pigs in the video, even though they've not really probably been facing away from you or sleeping. So anyway, that is all for this video. I hope you have enjoyed it, and we will all see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.